Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're coming from. And welcome again to yet another session on, deliverables, a group mentorship call on your deliverables. And this time, we'll be looking at your pitch decks. And just remind you a bit of housekeeping rules is that number one, for those who are not English speakers, we have interpretation that is active. You just need to click on the button that is written more, and you can find interpretation and click the language that you're comfortable with. In terms of muting yourself, just ensure that you're muted at all times, unless you want to ask a question. If you have a question, you can either raise your hand and ask your question, or once the question is asked by the consultant, then you can feel free to unmute yourself and contribute to the discussion. Otherwise, again, happy to have you here. And at this juncture, for this session, we'll be led by our consultant, Paminas Karaoke, and he's going to be taking us through pitch decks. So I'll invite Paminas to be able to introduce himself in case there's anybody who's not well conversant with him, and then he can be able to give us, the guiding rules for our session today, and he can continue the presentation for today. I know we had promised to have like a question and answer session regarding any questions that you may have in terms of, selection of top 15 or any other activities that we have moving forward for the top 100. And so after we've completed our discussion today, then you're going to have an open Q&A session for any questions that you may have, any programmatic questions that you may have for us as the WRI team. Otherwise, welcome, Paminas, and you can move forward from this point.
Thank you, Victor. Good evening, good morning, everyone from wherever you are. My name is Paminas Karaoke, work with content design consultancy firm that does capacity building for enterprises. We have worked with the WRI and Land Accelerator team for different projects for over several years. And we were privileged to be the ones to have been having a look at the deliverables that you had submitted, some of the deliverables that you submitted in this LA 2024 support program, a project. I had a look at your sites, videos, and your websites, as well as your pitch decks. So last week we had this week on Tuesday, we had a review of what we had observed as a common hits and misses in your websites and the site videos. And today we will have a look at the pitch decks. So Victor, sorry, I forgot to ask you earlier, do you think we want to have a recap of last time, or do we just dive into the pitch decks today?
Since most all of our sessions we do record them on Restore Forward, I'll suggest that we just jump into today's session. In case anybody wants a recap of last session, in case you're not there, you can always visit our Restore Forward, and you will find the recording there and the presentations there. So let's just begin our today's session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So for today's session, we'll be looking at the pitch deck, and please allow me to share the the presentation. I will be using a PowerPoint presentation to take you through the session. Let me put it on slideshow. I believe you can all see the presentation. Good, thank you. Yeah, so for today, we'll be looking at the pitch decks. I saw what you had done, and I'll start by commending you all for the pitch decks that you had done. I saw very many positive points. So even when I am raising the bits that needed correction, they were not across they were not in each and every, but you'd find that somebody was perfect in one area, not very well presented another area. And some people, of course, were able to do, most of the areas sufficiently well. So for today, we'll be looking at what we saw from the pitch decks. So just giving you a quick preview, we're looking at, we'll take you through what we were doing, what we were assessing, because we had to come up with an assessment criteria. Of course, this we came up after you had already done the work, but it was based on what you had already been supported on. So in terms of our assessment areas, we're looking at the 12 sides, the 12 slides template. Were you using more than that, or were those sufficient for you? And was the flow of the content in order? Then we're also looking at how your text was. Is it concise and to the point, and overall look and design, because it's also important. The use of your logo for you to identify yourself. For your company identity within the presentation. Then the use of charts and the charts images and any other graphs, other information, diagrams that you'd have used to give you information well. The pictures you used, and if they were distorted. And the key thing, of course, in the pitch deck is the ask. We're looking at how you have done this. So the assessment criteria was basically about that. So, and again, just to remind you, the pitch deck is more of a visual storytelling. So the presentation, besides the content, how it looks is a matter. And then one key thing that should not be overlooked is the cover slide. The cover slide can tell everything, can engage someone, whether the potential investor would want to look further based on how they see your cover slide. Again, the design, layout, and font color, then the simplicity of your presentation and clarity. I know the temptation to do a very funky design pitch deck and, lose it by overdoing. Then information and realistic assumptions. Yes, we are entrepreneurs, restoration entrepreneurs. And one thing with entrepreneurs, the ambition levels are very high. So it's very good that even as your ambitions are high, it's good that the assumptions you use for your business information are realistic. Then we'll take a bit of, have some attention on your ask, because that is very the punchline for your pitch deck. What is it that you want? This is your call to action. Allow me to start by what we have just discussed on the cover slide. This is a cover slide for one of the enterprises. That's Ndugunamiti Enterprises Limited. Now, I hope Laurent is here. I know we had a chat earlier on this afternoon, but
definitely I'm here.
You're here, Laurent. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Please allow me to use this website, this
Sure.
pitch deck cover slide.
Sure. Just use it, please.
Yeah, I liked it, and I'll say what I liked about it. Then you can also maybe say something. But let me start before you steal the thunder from me. So I liked the way that you're simple. You have a lot of information, but you have put it very well. So you have your logo up there. Then you have what you're doing. You're promoting landscape restoration indicated there, and then you've also given a figure. You've indicated what your target is. Then you've done your images, a bit condensed, but yeah, somewhere there, and your name and the date of the presentation is there. So generally, I found this to have captured very many things together. So maybe can you just share a little bit, Laurent, on what was your thought process in coming up with this cover slide?
Yes, thank you very much, Paminios. Ndugunamiti Enterprises Limited actually is entirely working on landscape restoration through tree planting, agroforestry, timber selling, and timber products processing. So our pitch deck actually, we tried to make sure that it captures all those information which focusing towards the existence of our company. So far, as we are working with the small-scale farmers, and we engage them in establishment of tree nurseries, which are communally owned by the community members, but also we focus in planting pine trees in the Sengerema and the Ukerewe districts in Tanzania. So we decided that we have to have some photos which are reflecting on what is really, existing at the field level. For instance, the photo on the left-hand side, which shows the trees which have grown up, and probably they have just a few years ahead. They have actually the impact to the soil, but also at the mid of the photos, there is a nursery, and some of the community members or the small scale members are involved, small scale farmers are involved in doing some of the nursery operations, for instance, weeding, watering, and other activities like pest and disease control. But of course, because we do engage them and train them in different aspects related with nursery management. But if you go at the top, there is another photo with the other people who actually they were discussing some issues related with the seedlings growth and all other maintenance procedures. So we thought that this cover slide should have to depict the entire and holistic existence of the organization. We promote landscape restoration, and we are actually targeting to plant 450 trees, 450,000 trees in Sengerema and Ukerewe, involving the small-scale farmers groups, but also using the company farms, which actually they are located in those districts.
Okay,
So,
wow, that is a good that is good information. Wanted to understand what was in your mind when you're doing this, and yeah, indeed you have we can now see that from your cover slide alone, you are able to tell a very big story, but in short words. So maybe I'll ask you just one question before we call to another one. You have the color blue or some designs on the bottom right side. What do those relate to, or what are they, that shape of a triangle or something?
Okay, there are the green one or
is it blue? The one on the top, where your name is, by Mpoya Lorraine?
Oh, yes, sure.
Yeah.
I think this colors actually we used many different colors so as to be more catchy and attractive.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and thank you for taking your time to take us through that. So
thank you
yeah,
too. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So that's one of an example of a pitch deck that had that was able to pick the salient features that would be required of a cover slide to engage. Maybe we can look at another one for Motso Honey Company. Motso, I think, was is an alumni before. Is Motso the director here? I think it's Enoch. Okay, if they're not here, maybe I can have a chance to ask. So this is a pitch deck for Honey Company. Does anyone have any question with regard to how this looks like? Now, putting yourself in the shoes of an investor, of an impact investor, who has any comments or something to ask about this cover slide? Anybody? Maybe you could raise your hands and Victor could see that and unmute you.
Or you can also just unmute yourself and ask the question. You are able to unmute yourself.
Okay, okay. Anybody?
Maybe I can try, Paminas, if
Okay,
nobody
Victor,
is
go ahead, yeah.
Well, I feel like they should not have written the name pitch deck because I think instead of the pitch deck, they will have put like their name, Motso Honey Company. That's what I think from. That's what comes immediately in my mind.
Okay, good. That's a good observation. That's a good observation. Anybody else?
Okay, thank you, Tamnas, to give me this time. For me, what I see daily
Bonjour,
is
je peux parler?
Sorry,
the font lighting is too small, too small. It could be better if it is big so that everyone can see it, because you can't see like big font size. It would be hard for you to read. These are advocating for protection of natural and so on. So for me, I can advise him or her just to increase the font size.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. I see Millicent. Millicent, can maybe say something?
Thank you. I think for me, I will advise him maybe it was not important or necessary to this small part written created by E. Mangwagede. Maybe he should have just omitted that and put it down there. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, okay. So those are all collective. I'm hoping he's here to discuss this. I know we had another session earlier on with him, and I know he's having something to do this weekend. Anyway, what you have said seem to be what I had also seen, but because we are getting this from a similar support program. Yes, when you have people looking at your work, the key thing that they should see from the word go would be something about yourself, not about the pitch deck. I think by the time they're there, they know it is a pitch deck. So this could have been a chance to either have your logo, but maybe not so important. And what would have been more important would be the value proposition here. So this advocating for the protection of nature and its environment through sustainable beekeeping to improve livelihoods would have taken prominence. That should have taken prominence. And, so somebody will see from the word go that this is what I am here to listen to about. Maybe doing pitch deck is maybe not it. The other thing is about identity, maybe just to pick with it. Colors, different colors mean different things. So using color black has a plus and a minus. The plus is it's unique because many honey companies possibly use brown and yellow and gold. So maybe this was a chance to stand out and do a different color. Again, black stands out. The disadvantage with this is if somebody is looking at things in a hurry, they want to familiarity. Sometimes somebody wants to see what relates with such a thing. So the color black is a plus and a minus. Bottom line is how you manage it. So why I would not penalize it so much here, if I were to do some scoring, it's because the labels of the products that they are selling also have a black element. So then that's good. But the good thing is that they have their logo there, very visible. They have their value proposition indicated there. They have their website, and the bid for created by maybe would have been presented by would have been a bit better than this. So maybe we can look at another one. This is for Trapro. I believe Trapro is here.
Yes, I am.
Okay, Jean, yeah, we know
Jean.
Chattel, yeah. Jean, Jean, sorry,
Jean.
It's John. John, okay, thank you. Thank you for the correction. Yeah,
Yes.
so the bit with your pitch deck is that outright, if I am looking for impact, I can already see that there are very many people engaged. For your case here, I don't know if it was by design. I see they are all ladies, so which is an even bigger plus because that's empowerment. Then your logo is prominent. Maybe what are the areas I think you could have improved on this cover slide? Just to ask you directly.
I think I haven't put a very descriptive of what Chaparral does, Hori, but I thought the images in the background would do much of that. And again, putting probably who was to present, the name of the presenter or who is presenting the pitch would have been also good. And yeah, I think that was like the one. And the date of the presentation.
Yeah, they're good enough. At least you have picked on those. So that is good because it will help on doing that. So the pitch is very prominent. Maybe what you could do is yeah, that point is where it could have the value proposition. Again, don't make it too wordy, don't make it a big paragraph, but you could look to summarize it. Otherwise, your choice of photo was excellent. That was a very good idea. Then the central placement of your logo would have been good. So now the only thing is to give that information, add the date and the name of the presenter, and that's a very good cover slide. Thanks, Jean. Yeah, there was this one for Kale, and please, I'm not very good in French, but I don't know, Victor, you help me, you're good in French, or somebody else can say something about this. But yeah, I did some direct translations and I could see this was something that was well done. And I also liked the fact that they had half of the page showcasing their products, and now the other half talking about the company. The logo is very well presented, what they're doing, and even went ahead to mention the country they operate in, which is very useful because if I know of any maybe like a restoration need in Benin, then I could see that there is a company already in that place that is doing something to either mitigate loss of forests. So is the owner of Kiel this presentation here with us? Okay, I'm not sure they're here. I know there is a translation happening on the side. So if they're not here, then we could move on. Now, maybe we could have a recap because, like I told you when you were starting, this is just a review of what I saw from your deliverables with regard to the pitch deck for this case. And I know you had gone through training of being prepared. Being prepared in presenting in doing the pitch deck. So essentially, these are the key things you should you should remember need to be communicated with using the pitch deck. So there is a business idea. So the business idea, it has to be there. Then there is a value proposition. So the value proposition picks from the problem and the solution to that problem. So it is more of your giving a solution to a problem that has been identified. Then the other bit, because this is a commercial venture, you need to show the market opportunity. What you're doing could be very good and makes all the sense. But if there is no market, then it becomes a challenge. So it's good to show that you understand how the market for that product is. What are the dynamics? How are their competitors, and what are they positioning for their end? So that it shows you have identified a need, even from a marketing angle, and since that everybody is addressing A, B, C, D, I will come in and address E. Then the business model. So you're communicating the business model. So the person who is looking at your pitch deck wants to see if your business makes sense, because essentially the investor is somebody who understands business. Then they will also look at your financial projections, and that will be based on your current case. There are cases where you're starting, it's more of a concept funding, so only the projections will be important. But for the case of an ongoing business, it's good to show that there's something, there's some traction with what you have done to date, and then now how you're going to elevate that to another level. And then the ultimate thing here is the support, what your ask is. So I'll take you through the ask and what it entails. But it's good to know that your ask is limited. You cannot ask for any amount that you maybe would fantasize. But an investor would look at some things that would lead up to a certain range of what you're asking for. So the range could be limited by whatever that program or investor has indicated as the ticket sizes for what they could give. And also, you need to look at the scale of your business to date, so that whatever you're asking, there is a feel that, yes, you can manage this level of funds. Then you don't be given a lot of money that can confuse you. So this is generally what to look for in a pitch deck. Then we zero in from the pitch deck and come to an impact investment pitch deck. What is an impact investor looking for when they're looking at your pitch deck? So for this, you need to focus on both financial returns and social or environmental impact. So that's a PPP approach, where you're looking at profit, people, planet, and profit. So it's not just like, for ordinary businesses, you're only looking at the financials. But in the case of an impact investor, they are looking at what beyond the finances you're doing, either with regard to the people or to the environment, depending on which project you are pitching for, or which program you want to get into or support from. Then it is good to use compelling statistics or visuals as you illustrate the problem. So you can go ahead to say that the land has been degraded and all that. You can put it in very nice words, but sometimes it's good to just show the picture. When you show the photo, then you can tell. Like what you have just seen from Trapro, before they say that they empower women, it was evident. The one we saw earlier on for the forests, before they even say for Ndugunamiti, before they even say what they do, you can tell by the picture, by the photo that they have used, that it's something to do with the environment. Then there's something I also noted that I thought to mention to you, is when you're defining or showcasing your solution, let it relate to the problem that you have given. Because at times there was a mismatch, but I know I responded to each individually. There were cases where there's a very well-profiled problem, with all the information and statistics and even photos. But when the solution is proposed, they are not related. You're trying to fit it to it, and you're not seeing how it will work. You're seeing, yes, it's a solution that can work, but seems to be addressing something totally different. So it's good that your solution is in relation to the problem. Then it's good to show the market opportunity and define your target market. Yeah, it's good to show that there is a market. Yeah, maybe the market is large. You could say it's global, or it's within your country or within your region. But then I'll define and say, so for me, I will target this, because investors want to see that you have a focus first as you intend to grow. Yes, you'll grow and get to bigger markets, but for start, what is your starting point? Where are you starting from? So in that, you define it in terms of size, and then also show the potential growth and how you'll extend beyond there. Then it's good to indicate your milestones, the impact to date. So this inspires confidence to potential investors that whatever you are planning to do is not a start. You have done some things. So it's good to show that you already gained traction. You've done a couple of things. You impacted this number. And for this one, it's good, even if it's little, you can show it, but it's good that it indicates your business is not just about financial, but you're already having some impact on the different skills, on the different areas you're working in. Then it is very, very important to showcase the competitors. It's important, and also show what their approach is or what their target is. What aspect of the problem are they solving? Maybe the competitor is there and is only addressing the corporate customers. So you're saying I'm coming in and I'm addressing the retail customers, or your competitor is there and they are doing a certain thing in a certain way, and you want to show that yes, we are coming in, but we are doing it differently. Now, showcasing competitors gives you two benefits. One, it shows the investor that you understand the market you are in and you know what the other people are doing. So that is critical. And number two, it shows that you already have an angle or where you're coming in. You have a strategy for what area you're coming to address, having studied your competition. So it is important to portray this. And when you mention them by name, it even adds more value. It shows that you have done some bit of research. So in some of the pitch decks that I saw, they were summarizing, they were saying our competitors are other companies, other schools, people importing, there was an indicator you're not very specific. So when you're specific, it also inspires confidence as well. So it's good to also show that the business model that you're showing there can be scaled. So you're showing from where you're starting and what it is that you're doing, or from what you've already done to date and how this is going to grow, both in terms of the financial returns, in terms of the impact that you're saying that you have achieved to date. Then it is very important to profile your key team. Now, what I saw in some of the pitch decks, I was only seeing a photo and a name, and the next one is a photo and a name. It's good to have the photo, the name, and a brief profile of that person. So you can say an expert in and that would relate to the position. You can also say the position that they are working in. So that either in that or also in the impact area that they have been working in. So you can say the photo, the name, and then has been instrumental in helping you achieve this much or this much, So for the key team, that's important. It's good when you do one by one. I could see some people are doing a whole team and just showing the whole team. It's good because it shows the authenticity of the company, but it's good when you now zero in and show who are these people. Then the key thing again is your ask. So your ask for the case of impact investment is a dual opportunity. So the investors want to see there is both financial return and impact. So it could be impact for environment, like in the case of what we are doing here. It could even be impact, environment, and social, or it could be finance and social and environment all together. So it's good when you show that, but dual is good enough. If you can do all three together, then that's even better. But the moment you're showing that there is financial return and there is environmental impact, and you can define it like we have said earlier, then that would be good. I know that's a lot. I don't know if there's anybody with a question on this impact investment pitch deck notes. Anybody, please.
Yes, I have a question, dear feminist.
Yes,
I just want to know the maximum ask that you cannot exceed, according to the financial statement. I mean, the maximum or ask that you cannot exceed about this program.
Okay. I'll have Victor answer that, but I'll mention this to you before I give person to Victor. Now, the ask that you have is limited by two things. One, the program that you're working in or the project that you're pitching to could be having a limit on what they can give as a maximum. So there are times when, much as you have so much need, you are limited by what that program will ask for. So if you have a very big project that you're doing, what you do is you can still go ahead and showcase the big project that you're doing. Then during the ask, you can say that you have phased it out, you have put it into phases. There is phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And what you're asking for is funding for phase 1. So, and then make sure that phase 1, the ask is, the amount that could be, is the limited amount is sufficient for your phase 1. So that's breaking it down into that. Then the other thing, number 2, is where you're unlimited, or even in a case where there is a cap on the maximum you can ask for in terms of the ticket sizes. Most of the investors will give you a grant that is equal to your last year's turnover. So if your last year's turnovers were maybe $10,000, it will be hard for somebody to fund you in a project of like, $60,000 or even $30,000, because there is a feel within investors that the money that you're currently handling is what you can manage. If it will be more, maybe it is marginally more, but not too extrapolated. The feeling comes that maybe you have not yet grown big enough to manage those kind of money. So it's not about a figure in this case. It's about what is your traction, what is your business today. So if you have been doing a business that last year did $10,000, in the previous year had done $7,000, then you can show that this business is growing at an average rate of 30%. So maybe you can ask for about 40% 40% over and above last year's, in which case you can ask for about $14,000. So with regard to this particular program for LA 2024, maybe Victor can respond if there is any limit with regard to what you could ask for in the pitch.
Thank you, Paminas. And just to answer the question, the answer is no. There was no limit to what you could be able to ask in the pitch. But what we were looking at, if your ask is generally makes sense. And of course, I know Paminas has hinted on how you should be able to, put out your ask. So you're looking at what are your revenues versus what are your ask. But we didn't have a limit on, the amount of ask that you could put, as long as, it is falls within the parameters that Paminas has just hinted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. I don't know if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it. I'm now understand.
Okay, thank you. I know you had sent me an email earlier, but yeah, I knew when we have this, we'll discuss, we'd cover that. So I saw somebody else's hand was up.
Ladislas Witanene, kindly ask your question.
Oui, merci beaucoup. Je suis Ladislas du Congo.
Thank you very much. I'm Ladislas.
J'ai des préoccupations.
I have two concerns. First, I wish to know, when we are presenting our pitch decks, are we presenting our company or we are presenting a project? That's my first question. And the second question, you said if you draft your pitch deck, you must be specific enough. So now, in what way must I be more precise when I'm drafting my pitch deck? Thank you very much.
Victor sorry, unfortunately, just remind me where the translation bit is because I've looked for it and I can't find it.
Pamela's, maybe just click on the button that is written more.
I've done that, but I can't see translation.
You can see interpretation, it's written interpretation.
Hmm. I'm afraid none. Yeah, because
You cannot see interpretation. It's supposed to be there.
Yeah, let's tell you where to get that. Hi, everybody. This is Amanda. So go to more and then click interpretation. Then you click English and French. In the meantime, we can tell you what the question was. Would you like to hear the question in English? It was,
yeah.
it was for the pitches. Are we supposed to present our project or our company?
Oh, okay. So for that in the pitch, it depends on, those could be two different. If your company essentially does what it is that the project is asking about, then you can pitch as a company. However, there are cases where a business maybe, for instance, is getting into value addition, and what you're getting into could relate to that, in which case you pitch for that project. So there, what you show is a history of your company, or rather give a profile of your company, and then show how this is an offshoot of that company. If there is no relation, it could be a big challenge for a pitch deck. Like if you are doing a certain business and what the project you want to get into is a total diversification, then it can become a difficult sell. Yeah, it can become a difficult sell. So yes, you can pitch for a company, and also you can pitch for a project. An example would be if you have been doing tree seedlings, let's say, or doing seedlings for avocado, and you have now seen an opportunity for avocado oil. You could now do that. No, the business has been totally different from this, but if you can show that the growth of your business is in expanding or into value addition of something else, then in that case you can pitch for that project. In this case, again, the ask would still be guided by what your business has been doing in terms of the level you are at. But you sometimes, if the business is already too big, then you can't ask for too big an amount to fund this the new venture, because again, questions will be, why can't the big business fund this initiative? I don't know if that answers. I hope it does. Please confirm if the answer is good.
Oui, parce que oui, alors je vais intervenir un peu.
Yes, I want to react.
Nous avions suivi en fait une formation avec
We have
donc sous les fonds de d'Abiuri.
We had a training on Abiuri funds, and we were told that when we do pitch decks, it must be pitch decks of the company and not pitch decks for the projects. So I just wanted to know about the Land Accelerator. I wanted to know if in this case here, is it the pitch deck for our companies or for the projects? But I'm very okay with your reply. Thank you very much.
Amanda, please, we can come in again. I am still not able to. I think maybe the interpretation option is not available when you're already sharing.
It's available, Permanus, but I will say what he said. So you do need to just look for it a little bit more because everybody has access to it. He said, oh, I just wanted to know about the Land Accelerator in particular. So guys, this is already over. It is a pitch deck about your company. However, the response is always, what does your audience want and what is your goal? And so this kind of pitch deck template that we provided can be updated for any kind of needs that you have. It follows a logical progression that helps take the guesswork out of what you need to do. Because oftentimes, if you haven't made a pitch before or something, you might think that you will need certain kinds of information you don't, and you might think that there's a certain order and your audience might get confused. So this pitch deck template that we provided is showing you time-tested ways that you can put very simple information down that tells a story that's useful and keeps you going along. So whether you do that for a project or your entire company, what is important is your ask, which is what you want the audience to do. So, in our case, we put the ask for investment, and we had done some trainings about how to come up with 3 different investment asks, and talked about the reasons why, which is because different funders might be interested in looking at different sizes of investments, and they also want to see your view for growth as well. So always look at your audience and look at the purpose and what you would like your audience to think or do after seeing your deck. The purpose is, of course, to introduce them to your company or project, build confidence and trust with them so that they would want to have a conversation to perhaps one day collaborate with you. So that's just a little bit more specific because we've been involved with the Land Accelerator Permanus, of course, through the whole year. And so you give a really great answer too. I just heard him in the translation mentioning he wanted to know a little bit more from the Land Accelerator point of view.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Amanda. I think I have now gotten it. When I went out, I was able to see the interpretation. So maybe I'll now get the French. Maybe if anybody else don't have a question, maybe you can move on. I took an example here of a PPP, people, planet, and profit approach that I saw with Yata beekeepers. So they are looking to address rural poverty. So that's a social impact and environmental degradation. That's an environmental impact by fostering sustainable beekeeping and agroforestry projects that give income for the smallholder farmers. So this was an example of a good value proposition because it besides looking at the profitability of the venture, it's also showing that it will impact these kind of people within society. I don't know if Yata beekeepers, you want to mention something on as you came up with this. Do we move on? Yeah, so we can move to another one. So I saw this one on Springboard. Springboard had done the vision, mission, and goals, but they went ahead to show the SDGs that they are addressing, the Sustainable Development Goals that they are addressing. So this shows that, beyond having those, the impact that you're talking about, you can attribute it to something that is of concern globally. So this was, again, a good thing that I saw from some of the pitch decks. So sometimes you could look at the people that you're addressing, or rather the investors that you're pitching to. Would this be of interest to them? Yeah. Again, I saw this from one of the businesses where they are using figures. Remember, you can talk a lot when you have the figures, like the content that is here. If it was in a paragraph, maybe it would take time to digest. But when you look at it on a nutshell, an investor who has many projects or proposals to look at, just looking at this gives an indicator of what it is that they're doing. It shows that this person has already done a lot of research, even indicating that there is a foul statistic that they are quoting there is important. So it makes it good. So use of statistics that is verifiable, like in this case, they have indicated it's from FAO, makes it look like, the problem that you're talking about has been identified by a bigger body. Then it's good to match your solution. So in this case here, this is a solution that was proposed by one of the businesses. When I say matching a solution to a problem, so this was a slide that was showing the solution. So they're showing that they're doing the distribution of inputs, training services, market linkage, value addition. So this was the solution. But just before this slide, there was this earlier slide of them addressing the problem. So when you look at what they were addressing, it's easy now to go back and see, yes, indeed, whatever they had identified as a problem is what they were now addressing in the solutions page. So just to remind you again, when you present a problem, it is good that the ensuing or the next the next slide that you have with the solution relates to this. When there's a mismatch, then you might lose your audience. The other thing is the market size and opportunity. So it's good to show, who you're targeting. So here I'll show two different presentations. So there's this one here that was showing, what they're selling, the number that they're doing, and the people they can reach and who they're actually reaching. So it's good. This is one way of showing the market size and the opportunity, because you're showing that you've already done some research and know there is as a group of people that I am targeting, and this is what I'll do with them. When you go into to defining the competitors, you can say who they're reaching and what they're offering, but this already gives the investor an impression that for this impact initiative that you're doing, there's already a commercial market for it, and it's working. Again, still in market size and target market, it's good when you show, in some cases I was seeing people addressing or entrepreneurs addressing the global problem, which is good because it shows that yes, indeed there is a problem. But there are some cases where the definition of that problem within your own region or your own market was insufficient. And I think that's what I mentioned with some of you, either on what we sent to you or the people who are calling. So it's good when you show that there are 500 million smallholder farmers globally. Then you can go in to show this one, went in to show how many in Africa and how many in the market that they are looking at. So saying they're looking at this number. And then at times we go on and say, we're looking to penetrate 10% of the local market. So that gives the impression that you already, you're very familiar with the market and what it is that you're doing and who the people you're targeting. So another thing that maybe you could show from the pitch deck was demonstrating impact. So here there was a case of Acacia. They have a slide that was dedicated to impact. Remember, it's not necessarily to have it there, but you could be having, maybe because it's an impact pitch deck, that in every slide that you're showing, you're discussing impact. So here they were addressing what they have done to date. So they could talk of this. Maybe, I don't know, Acacia, are you here to take us through what you have done briefly? Okay, if they're not here, maybe we can just, hello? Okay, so Charles? Okay, yeah. So in this case, we can see there's the land that they have restored to date and what they are planning to do. So they are showing what they have done so far, and then they are showing the next milestones. So sometimes it's good to demonstrate. I mean, for impact investor pitch decks, it's good to demonstrate impact. Like I'll reiterate again, the impact investor is looking for more than financial return. They're looking for social or environmental impact. Yeah, another case here of well-presented impact was by this organization. So they are showing the farmers reached to this period, then the number of farmers who are practicing conservation agriculture. Yeah, the seedlings, then the period since when, hectares of land that has been restored, number of farmers practicing. Now see the presentation. So in this case, it is put in text boxes that can help you easily, pick out what it is, what is being showcased. So another thing would maybe like be highlighting these figures. So you have highlight the big figure, like in the case of 4,600. You have it as a big figure font size. Then down there you say farmers reached since inception. Then you can have another big figure of 2,825, let's say, number of farmers practicing conservation, like that. So many ways of showing within the limited time and the limited presentation slides that you would have for a normal pitch deck. Now, market information, this one was well captured by this organization. So it's good when you mention the companies and also yourself alongside the companies, and you're showing what it is that you're offering. So the different customer offering, and then you're showing who does and who doesn't. So I could see the ones who did this because several of you had done this, is good. And I could see all of you are having all these areas ticked, yes, 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 the area that you're serving, which is good because that means you're concentrating on the areas that you will want to work in. And it is good when you're also showing what the other companies are doing. And now the investor can see, indeed, there is a gap here, there is a gap here. So some people are showing these circles in two, either in full or half shaded. So where it's half shaded, there was a disclaimer that they're doing it, but not very well, those kind of things. Or some would have like 3 of them, 3 showing you're doing it well, 2 showing you're doing a bit, 1 showing you're almost, and none showing that you're not addressing that. So that helps also show that you know what aspects of the consumer or the consumer wants that you're addressing. Yeah, is it consumer transparency? Is it access to market? Is it do they offer backward integration or farmer support? Those kind of things. Because again, this is an impact program. Now, again, we look at what we were talking about, the financial projections. So the financial performance. So financial performance, let me use several companies to show. So here there was one by Motso Company again. We had looked at this earlier on. So what was interesting about this is the graph tends to relate to the identity of the company and the logo. Yes, you see there's a black, there's a yellow. So that shows that you're ensuring that the investor's mind is still focused on the company that they had seen. Sometimes, yes, the logo is sufficient enough. You don't have to do all these things. But this shows the extra things that you can go ahead to do. But maybe for this, possibly not a must or a good or a wrong, the repeating of the brand, the products here may not be very necessary. But again, if this is consistent with your other slides across the presentation, then that would be it. But yes, there is a use of that. Then another thing that we're seeing in the financial overview is this kind of graph. It is neat. You're just having the figures there. And then on the side, there are disclosure notes. Yeah, that this color, this one is representing this color. This is giving, it shows projected increase for the revenue for this period. So there is the information there and there is what is additional. Maybe the only thing that was missing in this, and I would mention this because I saw it also in several of your slides, is it is good to indicate the currencies. When you're working in programs, especially international programs, there is a confusion on if you're using your local currency or if you're using a common currency like the dollar in this case. So it is good not to assume and have it there, because sometimes somebody or a team may want to make a decision before even contacting you. And when there is a gray area, that could be a reason for knocking you out. So it's good when you when you do these charts or graphs, it's good that they are well labeled, both the y-axis and the x-axis, with as little assumption as possible. Yeah, another presentation of information was like in this case, where besides, if you compare these other ones, they just have the figures, the graphs, but you now estimate the figure. But here they have the graph and the curve. Then at the different points of the years, they're showing what exact figure that was relating to. So this was also equally good. Maybe the only thing that would have been added here would have been the currency, and maybe a bit of maybe the currency here is what was missing. Otherwise, that's That looks like a well done representation of financial performance. Maybe the other thing that is missing here is the year beyond 2023. So the figure for 3,800, 3,800,000 and something would be relating to a certain year. Is that 2024 or 2025? Then there is another one again here, which was again a good presentation of financial figures. The bit with all these graphs, they show a positive trajectory. They're all showing growth. So it's good that this one is showing the current year, the current levels. And here it is showing both the revenues and also the number of farmers. So this is good because it's showing that as you increase the revenues, you're also increasing your social impact. So this is a good combination of both financial returns and social impact. So in terms of finance performance, generally most of the restoration enterprises, you used graphs to show you information. This was very commendable. There are only a few cases where they gave the information in notes or in charts, or in tabular form. But the beauty of showing graphs is like we have seen in all these cases, you're showing the direction of the business. It is growing. It is from a low point, and as the years go by, the figures go up. That is the advantage, that even before I read the information, I can see a positive trajectory. Then the other thing that I would say is, like in a case like this, for this business here, they not only showed the increasing revenues, but they were also able to show the social impact, the number of farmers that they're working with. Other cases, you could have an organization, if your organization revenue growth relates with the number of hectares you reach directly or indirectly. You could showcase that, so that as you're showing the growth in the revenues, the financial performance, then you're also showing the growth in the impact area that you're working in. Again, repeat, this one was good. They used the currency. They indicated the currency. It's good when you indicate the currency to avoid confusion. In cases where people can get back to you to verify, you're lucky. But if people do not have an opportunity to get back to you, then it could be a disadvantage to you when they are confused on, well, these figures you had here, were they in shillings, in rands, in dollars, in what currency were you using? So financial performance, that's a good example of how you could have been capturing them well. Now, when you go to profiling the team, there is this company again. So here they were showing the face, the name, and giving a short profile of what that person does. So remember, investors also invest in a team. So they would want to see the team and what who is this in the team. So you can have the brief detailing of the people, and that's to your advantage. Again, if you have very many people and you're debating who to pick and who not to pick, it can be good to sorry to put it this way, but to prioritize the ladies, because it gives a generally good impression. Somehow that's related to sustainability. Another case of presenting the team, was here. So there is the name, there is a position, and there is a bit of what they have done. So maybe, I don't know, would anybody pick something from this presentation of the team? Anybody amongst us? Even Inuka, if you're also here, you could say something about your team. I mean, this slide. Anybody? Because time is not on our side. Anybody, just unmute and say something. Yes, Rod.
I think it would be very good if they add their academic background.
This is for your company, right?
No, it's not for my company. My
okay.
company is Chapro.
Oh yeah, Trapo. Okay. For that, I'll answer it's a yes or a no because yes, the academic background will be a big proof, but sometimes what is required is showing the experience that you have. So if that can come alongside the experience you've had, then perfect. That would be good. But yes, that's a good and a valid point. Thank you. Somebody else?
I think the first guy, we are not able to see his face.
Ah, okay. It's good. Somebody has picked that. Yeah. Anybody else who's doing something?
And I think the director should come first.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So that we don't belabor here, I think the key thing was the first person. Yes, I know they wanted to show that, still at work. It's good when they show the face because it gives an impression of being open. You're showing this is this person. If you meet this person somewhere, they know this is, if you have met this person in the past, they know this is the person who does some good work for us. So it's good when all the photos you use, you can have yourself very well presented. So yeah, that was a key thing I wanted to see if it could be picked, and I am glad somebody did. So maybe the last profiling of a team here is this one is a very beautiful photo of a team. So what would you say about how Lawrence, and please allow somebody or people to ask and say in comments, what would you say of this team in the as this slide team in the pitch deck? Anybody, even French speaking, I have my translations on. Yes, two people have raised their hands. You can just unmute and say, just feel free to unmute and say.
Maybe we can start with Rodrigue, or I don't know if that's a legend hand. If not, maybe Brenda.
Non, non, bonsoir. Good evening. It's not an ancient hand. Nous voulions poser une question. Nous voulions nous exprimer en disant que nous avons
So
bien
it's not an old hand. So we wish to tell you that we got the presentation very well, and we were writing in the chat that we are going to take into consideration your remarks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Most welcome.
Brenda, je voulais aussi parler. Oui, je trouve la photo qui...
I also wish to say something. I think this picture, I think that is a very nice picture. We have some people that faces are not very well shown, and I think that overall the picture is good, and but they have to make all the faces appear very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe I can, is there anybody else or just one more person and then
Yes, can I have the speech, please?
Bonjour. Oui.
Good morning. I think that the picture is very nice, but given that we have a lot of people in the picture, and they are smiling. This is the expression of, the good humor of the picture.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So maybe I can maybe just say something we close this. So this would have been a very good photo, maybe for a cover slide or any other background photo for part of the presentation. However, when you're presenting the team, it is important to show the key team and you profile them one by one. So ideally, the team slide in your presentation should not be a group photo. It should be photos of key staff or key individuals that are working within your organization or key members of your board or an advisory board, because what the investor wants to know is who is behind where I'm about to put my money. So who are these? Who will be these? So they want to see who is a CEO, who is a maybe finance manager, who is a sustainability manager, who is behind marketing. So show your key team, because you being the entrepreneur, you know who is your key, who is very integral in your organization, and especially who has a very good presentable profile. So highlight them, that their face, their name, and their and what they do. Like in the cases we have seen in the previous slides. So you have the name, I mean the image, the name, and what they're doing. Same as in this case here. But show the face, then you're addressing the individuals within the team. So when you're profiling the team, I think we have looked at that. So yes, this is a very good photo, Lawrence, but this maybe could be a closing, on the last slide, the last slide. So this would be it, where you down there you have your addresses, because indeed you have a big team, and it also authenticates and shows that this is an existing company that is doing a lot. So maybe we could go to your ask. So there have been questions about your ask from several people, even on email. Some we've been able to discuss, but here's what we can address, much as we had speak on this earlier. So your ask is a call to action for the pitch deck. So after doing all that presentation, this is where now your investor is waiting to hear, okay, so you've told me what you do and what you're planning to do. So what is it that you want from me? So number one, your ask is what is needed now. Yeah. Your current scale. Like I told you, if your business is in a certain scale of turnover, please play within that region. Otherwise, if you shoot beyond, then there is all the concerns coming of, are you really able to manage a lot of money, more than what it is that your business is managing? You can increase, but marginally, but not exponentially. Then align with both impact and financial goals. So whatever it is that you're showing your growth in, if you have been talking of the traction you've made in terms of impact and what you have done to date, even when you show that you're going to get new investment, show that even these impact areas will also grow. Yeah, don't show that only the finances will grow, but also show, that when we have this, we'll even address more, we'll work with more community members, we'll cover a bigger area of the restoration. We'll restore more landscapes, those kind of things. Then it's good to research industry benchmarks and investor preferences. So the investor you're pitching to is a person or a team of people who have preferences to what they would want to do or what the industries generally indicate. So if you're going to say that you need financing for setting up tree nurseries, ensure that the figures you're giving for the tree nursery, for establishing a tree nursery, is what is generally acceptable. Don't have figures that somebody says, I don't know what kind of nursery costs that much, or I don't know what these that they have mentioned seems to be too much on the higher side. Then as you do the presentation, even especially when you are the asker, you need to reiterate the opportunity for investor. So show them that when they put in their money, they will get the returns. So besides what you have indicated there, you can also reiterate. This is a case where you're doing a personal pitching. But from what I saw is you could have some, I was seeing some presentations, they're very good flow of information, but when they come to the ask, they just ask and drop off. So it's good to reiterate what it is that your impact will be, even in on the slide of your ask. Then it's good to display the ask figure. Yeah, let not somebody look for it or try to imagine, I think it must be this one. Show it prominently. And then, so even when I'm on that slide, before I read too much, I can see this one is asking for $100,000 or this one is asking for $50,000, then, and also the currency. Don't just have the figure without the currency. I repeat, also, there are cases where the pitch decks were, the figure didn't have the currency. You had to read through the other notes on where the money will be used. Is where you can see there they had mentioned the currency. So yes, again, show a breakdown of or distribution of your funding needs. So when you break down, you help somebody appreciate where the money is going to be spent in. And that also helps in them identifying, yes, this spend is equivalent to this and is certain to give this kind of impact. Then it's good to outline the next steps for engagement. So after you have done all that, the pitching, then you can say, yeah, it's good to indicate there that we are available for a meeting to expand on this. Yeah, just show that you're willing to have a continuity to the discussion. So align for what is there, and then showing a breakdown is particularly very important. Then somebody can see when I'm giving you $50,000, then I'm seeing you're going to spend 45,000 on marketing, then that raises questions. So somebody wants to see the breakdown so that they even now can tell that the money seems to be, it will be spent well. So in that case, we can look at a case here. So this one, I won't say which company, which entrepreneur this was, but yeah, they are able to give what they need, what they're looking at, and what the milestones they want to achieve. Then they had given a pie chart to show where the funds will go. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to even give the money, but when you do this, I mean the individual amount for each, but I can see that the big chunk is going to farmer recruitment and training. Then I can see the other chunk is going into operations. And then I can see some money is going into farmer support, into certifications, into value addition. So that here now, if there is a question it can come to, so how different are the certifications from the operations? What is in operations if certifications is not there? Those kind of things. And then there could be the question of why are you spending? I mean, you're spending very little on value addition, and maybe your presentation has been talking about value addition. So does it mean that you're only going to spend 10% of what you're asking for on this, and then the rest you use on other areas? So this breakdown also helps you helps you relate to what you have been saying throughout the presentation, because the ask comes last. Then you can relate, yes, the whole presentation has been about farmer recruitment for the impact and for the growth of the business. And indeed, yes, 40% is going in that direction. But if you have been talking about something else and you come here again, you're showing it's going to a different place, then that makes an investor feel like, the money that they are investing in your company is not going to where they were looking to spend it at. Now, I don't think there's one question, or we can quickly go to the last. Yeah, another one here was detailing the ask. So here you have the use of funds, the amount, and the impact. So it's good that there is also breaking down the impact at this point. So you have the full amount, and then you have this. But maybe can somebody pick one little mistake that is in this slide? That's why I used it. Anybody who can pick it quickly? Okay, you're all quiet. I'll tell you, it's in the figure. Yes, the amount had been broken down properly, but when they came to put the total here, they forgot to put it in thousands. It's $300,000. So it's good to have these things right, because Yeah, the investor obviously is not there to look for mistakes, but some mistakes might cost you. Maybe somebody wanted to look at a certain range of figures, and they have removed you from that figure because what you indicated quickly when somebody was looking did not know to see that you had made a mistake. So yeah, just ensure that you have it right. At least they had said the currency, but they forgot to say the amount. So quickly, in a nutshell, the pitch deck tips are, yeah, let it have visual appeal. That what you have prepared be interesting to look at even before I read. So the arrangement of photos and all those things. So let them be very interesting. Then use legible text. There are cases where you need to say too much, so you end up reducing the font size and somebody won't read. Remember, there's a chance that you can either present the pitch deck or you can forward it to somebody to review. So it's good when it is when text is legible. Then have the value proposition on the cover page. Have the value proposition that guides the mind of the investor on what it is that they are looking to address here. Then show your logo. Your logo is important because it is your identity. So sometimes you tend to think that the logo is only for the market. It is for any party any stakeholder that you're relating with. Then if they're looking at many people's presentations, with your logo, they will remember that, yeah, this was about this company. And have your logo also in most of the slides inside, if not all. Then the sequence, from what you are trained on in the pitch deck preparation, yeah, I see. So largely you are following the sequence, but there were cases where I could see some people have discussed something after. So the sequence that you are taken through in the LA session, just go by that guide there because it's generally the guide that also the investors look at. And use realistic assumptions, even if you're ambitious, but have realistic assumptions. Then show performance, show what you have done to date as you get into what you're saying you will do. Then remember that your ask is limited by your current scale. So the sales that you're doing, and be brief and to the point. Also give market information to give an impression that yes, you understand how the market is and is working. Then imagery, use pictures, use charts, use figures. These speak louder than words. And also remembering that the pitch deck presentation is limited. You're limited in terms of slides. The pictures can help you say a lot as opposed to going too much. So yeah, this is basically the review that we had talked about. And that brings me to the end. Don't know if we have any questions, or I realize time is almost up. Victor?
Thank you so much, Paminas. Any questions relating to the presentation from the participants? If you have any question, feel free to unmute yourself. Feel free to raise up your hand. Yes, Charles. Unmute yourself and ask your question. Then we can have Brenda.
Pamela, thank you so much for this elaborate presentation. Surely it is so much professional. My question is centered on the ask part of the pitch deck. As you may be aware, most economies in Africa the finances, and when they have an opportunity to do a bicycle kick in the box, then they are good to go. For instance, you find you are working, your turnover is less, you're not able to raise finances. So when you get an opportunity that you can and revenue, you sometimes intend to shoot your ask so that it match your ambitions and the impact. So I don't know how someone would ask less or probably go to what someone is an opportunity to raise the ask. For instance, if my turnover is $10,000 US, and I'm doing this, my impact is beyond the one that I have. But for the meantime, that is my turnover. That's what I can raise in terms of equity. So when I have an opportunity to raise more funds then I am good to go. I don't know if someone would match that if you have an opportunity to present so that you have a bigger impact. I don't know, surely, I don't know, but thank you so much.
Okay, do we have another question or do I respond to that one first, Victor?
I do not see. I know Brenda had a question, but I think he dropped their hand. So maybe you can answer that as Brenda raises their hand again.
Oui, je voulais demander seulement si la présentation d'aujourd'hui sera sur
I
Restore
wanted to
Forward.
ask if today's presentation will be on Restore Forward for us to be able to review it after today.
Yes, the presentation will be posted on Restore Forward, and you can be able to review it later. So maybe by tomorrow, that will be put up. Thank you. I see Jap's hand is up, so maybe we can have Jap, and then you can answer Charles' question and Jap's question as well. Jap.
Yeah, thank you, Victor, and fairness also for your great feedback on all our deliverables and your presentation. The question I have is, there are all kinds of investors, very commercial investors, there are family offices, there are NGOs. And in the presentations that we've received, you always talk about investors in general. Is there, in October, for instance, in Ghana, a particular type of investor that the 15 chosen ones are going to present to, or is it a mix of investors who all have obviously their preferences, some more to impact, some more to financials, some more to startups, some more to established businesses? Is there a way to find out what the mix of investors is? Thank you.
I think so excuse me, I think that is a question for the Land Accelerator organizers and maybe not so much as Permanus. Most of the investors in Ghana will be coming from Ghana. If you want to have success with investors, it is always best for you to join local communities and to research your investors in your region, go to networking, and this deck will help you be prepared to reach out to them with confidence. Because if you can meet people in your own regions, in your own communities, that's going to be the best for you. So what I suggest to people is, get busy, get networking, join communities in your neighborhood, and be ready to share and talk about your companies. Use some of the techniques that we've taught here, such as your 30-second pitch intro. Now you have a deck that you can email to people. You can find different events in your area. I know when I was a lender, it was always great when companies were able to come out to events that I was going to, and I could meet them quickly and follow up with them and look at their pitch decks as well when I started to do due diligence as well. So those are our biggest tips. In Ghana, we'll mostly have Ghana-based companies and investors. And the point of our event in Ghana is more learning, more networking with really great entrepreneurs from across the country. We'll have some site visits and everything like that, but that is all going to be talked about on specific sessions that we have for the top 15. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda. That was very helpful.
Thank you. And Victor, I think I can respond to Charles.
Yes, Fabinas, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Charles, I get your idea because I looked into several of the presentations and the people I have also been engaging with on one-on-one. Yeah, sometimes the restoration enterprises that you're working in are heavy investment, but maybe low sales you're starting. So in such a case, you need to do a presentation that will need to show that you have used what you have to to scale to the top that you can with the limited resources that you have, then in that case, still showcase all the impact that you have, the traction of your impact to date. So once you highlight that, you can then go ahead to show how much more you can do with much more funding, even if it will not relate to what your turnovers are. The only risk you have with that is an investor will always be cautious to look at investing in a business that has been able to manage this kind of money previously, yeah, so that you're not given money that would scare you. So in such a case, what I would propose you do is you break down the growth or expansion into phases. Then you have a first phase that you can receive funding for that equates to the kind of level that you can get the funding with. And then, look for more funding for other stages in the future. Otherwise, it is very unlikely that your business will be in a turnover of let's say $5,000 a year, and you are asking for $100,000. I would not want to, inform you that it would be an easy shot. It would be a very long shot, but you would be better off breaking down the expansion investment into phases, and then you get maybe at least slightly more than your turnovers, then grow from there. I don't know if that answers your question, Charles.
Yeah, I think I get you. I get you. Thank you, Pamela. I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Victor. Sorry, and I see we've gone. We are time. Victor?
Okay. Thank you so much. Do you have any other pressing question that we have for Paminas here? If not, if you don't have any other question to Paminas, maybe I'll use the next 5 minutes or less than that to ask, do we have any questions generally regarding the program? Do you have any programmatic questions? In case you have any programmatic questions, this is your chance to actually ask the question. Any programmatic questions that you may have from anybody? Otherwise, if you also don't have any other programmatic questions, mine is to thank you all for showing up for these sessions. Again, these sessions are meant to be able to add value and, to your businesses. And yes, I can see Brenda. Brenda, feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question.
Oui, je voulais demander parce que
I wanted to ask. Because we are working on capturing carbon more. So I don't know how we can find investors for our own projects. So is it when we'll have presented our pitch decks? Are there going to be investors interested in our product?
Thank you so much. Brenda, are you part of the top 15?
Top 15, non, je suis dans les top 100.
No, I'm in the top 100.
Okay, maybe to answer your question is that yes, we do not have like direct investors that we know or we have right now that we can say will come and invest in carbon, carbon credit, projects. But what we can say is that one of our peer-to-peer sessions that we've planned, I think it's supposed to be for next month, is on carbon credits. And we want to invite experts in carbon credits, so make sure you join that peer-to-peer session. But then also you can be able to use your pitch deck to be actually use it to or present to other investors who are in the carbon credit industries to help you to see if you can be able to get some investment. And of course, that is why Amanda talked about networking. Network with people who are, in the carbon credit projects. Get to talk to them, get to know who are some of the investors on the ground, and then you can be able to use your pitch deck to actually pitch to them. But once we announce the dates for our peer-to-peer session on carbon credits, make sure to be able to come and also interact with our expert to be able to know some of the investors who are in the space that you can be able to talk to. I hope I answered you, Brenda. Thank you.
Oui, c'est bien répondu. Mais je voulais répéter encore.
Yes. The date for the meeting, the peer-to-peer meeting?
We have not yet confirmed the dates, but we shall write confirming the dates, and we are going to send all of you a calendar invite to be able to join the meeting. So don't worry, that will be sent to you. Thank you.
Okay, merci.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, in respect of time, I see we are remaining with 2 minutes to 7:40, 10 minutes more than what we anticipated. So I don't know if you have any question. Otherwise, if you don't, thank you so much, Paminas, for the session. Thank you, everybody, for turning up for the session. And be on the lookout for, our peer-to-peer sessions, invites. We're going to send some Zoom links for our peer-to-peer sessions. We are supposed to have 3 more peer-to-peer sessions. Be on the lookout for other opportunities that we are going to be sending to your emails. And for those in the top 15, see you during our mentorship calls. Otherwise, thank you so much. And I'm going to ask maybe the rest of my team, maybe Fabiana or Amanda, in case you have anything that you want to add before we close. Amanda, anything?
Everything sounds good. Victor, thank you guys so much for joining us today and for taking a look at your decks. There's always changing. Your businesses are always changing. So it's always good to revisit them and to think about how you can use them. And we heard a lot of questions today about how to find those investors. And that is a journey that actually can happen closer to home as well. So always be joining those networking sessions, looking for opportunities to pitch and finding investors that you can talk to. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Fabiana, anything?
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Permanus, for the session. We look forward to seeing your updated pitches, hopefully using some of the tips from today. We'll be sending around information beginning of next week on how to resubmit those deliverables so the Permanus can continue to provide you with great feedback. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Fabiana, for that reminder. And finally, Paminas, do you have any parting shots?
Yeah, thank you everyone for your audience, and thank you for the facilitation of the meeting. We continue to work and to improve. There's always something to learn and use in growing the businesses. Thank you so much, and my best wishes to all the restoration entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, and have yourself a lovely day, evening, and night. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good evening.
Bye.
Bye. I live on a house by myself.
Bye. Au revoir et à très bientôt.
Au revoir, s'il vous plaît.